I remember when I was first going through the motions, like there were so many like naysayers and like people like, oh, that kid's doing too much and he's gonna shoot himself in the foot. And people had so much to say, but I was really just creating experience. Like all my businesses, my business module is to create an experience.
In March of 2021, former Governor Andrew Cuomo made a major announcement decriminalizing the possession of up to 3 ounces of cannabis, allowing a new industry to flourish. Today, I'm exclusively inside of King's House of Fire, a Black-owned cannabis dispensary located in Cortlandt Manor, New York. Walter, welcome.
How's it going?
I'm good, thank you. So take me back to the moment when the idea to open a dispensary came about.
So I've always been infatuated with the business side of cannabis. I've been a college athlete for 4 years, but throughout college, I was really always infatuated with cannabis, and not from a user perspective, but more from the business side. But it was one of those things where I could never openly speak about it because it has such a negative stigma to it. So I remember literally like after my game sometimes, like I would literally go home and just research like dispensaries in California, dispensaries in Oregon, and just kind of follow like the law and the legalization of like cannabis as a whole. But I could never like talk to anyone about it. But yeah, I helped a lot of my friends build businesses and build their brands in Cali and Oregon. And the minute I saw the laws change in New York, as soon as I saw my opportunity, I knew that I was going to try to capitalize off of it.
And you did, and we're here in this huge facility. How many square feet?
So the whole place is 13,000 square feet.
13,000 square feet.
Yeah, we're going for we're going to be New York's second largest, but Westchester's largest dispensary.
So right now, I'm exclusively inside of Westchester's largest dispensary that is also Black owned. So shout out to King's House of Fire. I can exclusively tell you guys that this place was made with a labor of love. I can say that because he canceled on me so many times. But we're here today and it's gonna be a great time. So let's talk about the opening process.
Yeah.
When will you guys be opening?
So originally we were aiming for Juneteenth. We closed the fun place officially May 28th, I believe.
Sure.
And that gave us about 5 to 6 weeks to try to build out the whole dispensary. We always knew we were pressed for time, but pretty much the only thing stopping us from opening now is just the fact that our display counters got stuck in customs.
Okay.
So right now we're aiming for July 12th, which is also my mother's birthday. But yeah, that's when we plan to go live.
Okay. So I read online that your family owns about 5 businesses throughout Westchester, is that right? Is it more?
You got the daycare. Yeah.
About 5?
Yeah, 5 or 6. Yeah.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
So 5 or 6 businesses throughout Westchester. So clearly entrepreneurship runs through your blood, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so did you ever think about going the corporate route, or because your mother and your father are both entrepreneurs, you were like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur?
So growing up, I'm the only boy and I'm also the baby. So me and my mom had that special like mother to son bond.
Yeah.
But my dad owned the first Black gas station in Westchester. So yeah, my mom owned the first Black daycare center. My dad owned the first Black.
Say it again?
My dad owned the first Black gas station in Westchester. My mom owned the first Black daycare center in Peekskill. Yeah.
And now y'all are owners of the largest Black-owned dispensary in the county.
In the state.
In
Black-owned, yeah, the one, yeah, in the state. Yeah.
So what's the first?
The first Black-owned largest dispensary. Exactly. Yeah.
Do you take pride in that?
Yeah, it feels good. Like sometimes, doesn't really feel real. I'll be honest. Like like I said, just watching my dad grow up and see how he managed his business, and then watching my mom manage her business. They had 2 different styles of entrepreneurship, but I could take like the good from my dad, the good from my mom, and then I could like put my own spin on things. And like growing up, like I was there at all times. So I guess to answer your question, I won't say I always knew I would be an entrepreneur, but I always had a boss mentality, if that makes sense. I actually, my sister, her name's Capri, she worked at Macy's corporate for the last 10, 15 years. She's a director, VP, like she's huge in that. So I remember she got me an interview after I graduated college, and I went on the interview, and me and her, she was prepping me for days, and kind of like how we are now, we're just talking fluently, and she's like, just be yourself, you know what I mean? So I went in there, and long story short, I didn't even make it to, I think, the second round. And that was with her stamp on me. Like, if my sister say her brother needs a job, like, you know what I mean? So once I realized, I'm like, damn, like, I don't like how that made me feel. So then it was almost like, I want to start my own business. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I definitely can't do that.
You're not gonna feel like that again.
I can't, no. Yeah, those days is over.
Okay, all right, those days are over, people. Those days are over. Okay, so your mother, what's her name?
Joan.
Joan, Miss Joan.
Yeah.
Okay, so your mother was substantial in making this a reality, opening the dispensary, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I believe she entered a lottery and was chosen to be licensed?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about that.
So pretty much how it worked is like, my mom, she was always one of those moms where like, if I tell her like, Ma, I want to go to the moon, she's like, all right, let's go. What we doing? Like, you know what I mean? And like, she's always had my back. So I remember one time I was on a Zoom call, and my mom, if you know, you know, she's like real alpha, but she's also nosy, and like, you know, if she got a problem with you, she gonna let you know. She don't hold her tongue for nobody. But anyway, I'm on a Zoom call, and I'm actually on call with someone from Connecticut who's about to open a dispensary. They were looking for potential investors. So I'm sitting there on the call, and my mom, again, like, no business, no reason why she should be on my call, but she overhears like,
we on the call.
Yeah, she overhears like, I guess the guy asking me for certain numbers on how much he wants to invest and how much equity would break down, whatever. So I just hear her like chirping in the back, like, like you just hear it like, so it like throws me off. Like, my mom's one of those people, like, if she even came in right now, I would be nervous as hell, because like, she just, I love her to death, but she just always
that
like,
aura.
yeah, she throw my energy off. Like, you know, if you remember earlier, I'm like, yo, get her out of here. You know what I mean? But yeah, so you just hear it in the background, like, you just hear, yeah, investor. I'm gonna show him investor. Like, she just popping. Yeah, so I'm like, I get off the call, threw my whole energy off, because like, in those moments, that would have potentially been the biggest deal I ever invested in.
Yeah.
So the last thing I needed was like, that, you know what I mean? I just wanted to take a second, you know, and just reflect and see if it was even a possible avenue, but she cut that off quick. And she was like, I'm gonna show you. And I was like, wow, what are you talking about? Like, I was like, this is Connecticut. New York hasn't even legalized it. And she was like, well, when's New York gonna legalize it? And I'm like, next week, because it really was. I'm like, next week. And she was like, all right, that's it. All right, cool. And then I remember one day, she was like, I'm applying for the license in New York. So I was like, all right, let's do it. Like, you know, we kind of decided as a family that that would have been the smartest way to go about it, because New York launched a program called the CARD program. Basically what that program is you have to be a minority, you have to be a woman, a veteran, or someone actually convicted of marijuana. So you had to fall under one of those 4 criteria. My mom checked 3 of the 4 boxes, right? So she's a minority, she's a woman, she wasn't convicted of weed, but she was the guardian of someone who was. So that counts. Like, you don't have to be directly convicted, but if you're the parent, something direct interest, then you're the applicant too. So I'm like, yeah, Ma, that'd be a smart idea, because we could pitch it like this. You'll be a stronger applicant than me, and you know, the whole 9. So she got on the computer and she just started doing her paperwork. And it got to a point where she kind of needed me, because like a point in the applications where like the business side, she got it. Like, but when it gets to the point where they start asking questions about the cannabis side, do you want a micro license? Do you want a distributor license? Do you want all these different licenses? She's like, huh? It's just like, and that's when she called me in the office. So I'm like, I look at the computer, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is like, you're wasting your time. Like, we're not gonna get it. Like, I was just like, I kind of just had a change in feelings about it, because my friends put all this negative, not my friends, but a lot of colleagues put a lot of negative like words in my mind about the lottery in general. They said it was extremely, extremely rare, which it was. But she was like, I bet you I get it. I bet you won't. So we just playing back and forth. But I'm like, I'm one of those people, like, I'm kind of just trying to fuel her to continue going. Like, I didn't necessarily think she wasn't gonna get it. It was more so one of those things like, I don't know if you're gonna get it, but we're gonna finish this paperwork.
Wait,
so
do you know that, like, that song, sorry, this is completely off topic, but you know how you just like, you were betting her, and then, you know, the song's like, I bet you won't. No? Nobody knows that song?
No.
Are you kidding me? There's like a dance to it. Oh my God. All right, fine. Okay, so you guys went on a betting war.
Yeah.
She ended up winning the betting war.
So the first round came out. There was 2 rounds of licenses. The first round came out and we didn't get it. And I was like,
Told
I
you.
told you so. Now I should have invested in my friend's dispensary. And then the second round came out, and she was like, literally that, I remember we seen it on a list, and imagine the list just like reading the names. It wasn't on the first page. That second page, we were the second name, King's House of Fire. And she was like, and I was like, and she was like, I told you so. And I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. Yeah. Yep. So I was super excited at that moment. And then, yeah.
So would you say the lesson out of that is don't doubt your mom?
Yeah, of course. Don't
Never doubt Miss Jones.
Yeah. And don't doubt God's, right, God's plan.
If it's in the cards, God says so, then it's gonna happen, right?
And she said that. My mom's really, really like spiritual, and that's what she said.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah, right. So, still on your mother, Miss Jones. So I read online that she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018.
Yeah.
How did that moment change her outlook on the cannabis industry and ultimately lead to you guys opening this place?
So my mom, she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018. Again, we received a bunch of different statistics from doctors saying that she needed chemo, she needed radiation. Going back to my mom being spiritual, she was like, God told me I don't need chemo, I don't need radiation. She had, it was triple negative breast cancer, but it was literally in her breast. It hasn't spread anywhere else. So she decided we were gonna get a mastectomy, cut both breasts off, and then just straight lifestyle change and take the spiritual route. And I remember her telling us that as a family, and like, I'm 19 at the time. I'm like, Mom, you're crazy. Like, again, I'm like, this is what the doctor said. This is what we have to do. And she's so just strong that like, when she had her mind set on the fact that she was just gonna get the mastectomy and that's it, we kind of agree with it as a family. But anyway, she got her medical card to consume marijuana.
Her doctor recommended, right?
Her doctor recommended it, exactly. But she's so big no on any type of drug that she said that she was gonna get it, but literally her purpose of getting it was so that if any of our family members got caught with marijuana and she was there, she can say it's hers. And I'm like, Mom, it doesn't even work like that, but sure. Like, and this is just how compassionate she is. But yeah, that's the reason why she got the medical marijuana card, and never used it.
And now you guys have a whole dispensary.
Whole dispensary.
So would you say like her mindset has changed with the cannabis and everything? Like, is she still like no against it, or is she?
No, she supports it 100%. I think it's like cool because like, she'll try to like sit in our little meetings with the brands and stuff. Yeah. And she's learning about indicas, sativas, and hybrids, and she's really just like trying her best to, understand the cannabis industry.
I think a big thing with people, and hate is a strong word, but a lot of people hate what they don't understand, or if they don't understand it, like they're scared. Yeah. Right. So when when people become knowledgeable about something, they can change their mindset. And in this case, that seems like what happened. Yeah. So location wise, we're in Cortland Manor. Yep. It's a little, if you guys don't know where that is, it's about 30 minutes from White Plains. Kind of far. Just kidding. It's not upstate. I mean, I think it's upstate. Everybody thinks White Plains is upstate, but anywho, why did you choose to open in Cortland as opposed to like a largely populated area like White Plains or Yonkers? So
the toughest part about the cannabis industry is that, you could be awarded a license, but finding a location is even harder. So we got awarded that license. I would say it's probably like a 2% chance. Finding a location is definitely more slim than that. So it's not as easy as just saying, I just want to put one in White Plains and I'm going to put it here. There's so many different regulations that we have to follow, and they're super strict.
What are they?
So cannabis is illegal federally, right? What that means is it's only legal at the state level. So New York State decided with this program that they were gonna implement a bunch of different barriers and protections to kind of soothe people's mind of where they should be, right? So the state said that dispensaries can only be they have to be 500 feet away from a school, a church, an old people's home, a nursing home, and a park, right? So if you think about that, and if you were to just think about your area, it's almost impossible to find those 4 things. And then the banks were saying that since it's not legal federally, we can't accept money from a dispensary. So if you're a landlord, right? Let's say you own this building and you have a mortgage on this building, you can't have me as a tenant in here. The banks are saying you have to remortgage out of your mortgage with us and mortgage with the bank that accepts it, because we don't accept that kind of money.
Not allowed.
Which is strange.
So weird.
Right? So not only do you have to meet the criteria of being away from a school, a church, a park, and a nursery home, but you also have to hope wherever you're going, the person owns the building, which is even more slim. So it was definitely, it wasn't just ideal to just try to go to a town that's overpopulated. You kind of just got to get where you could fit in and try to open up as soon as you can.
And with this place, like when you guys come and see, it's very spacious.
Yeah.
What was this building previously?
It was our old business, the Fun Place.
Oh, so this is where the Fun Place was housed.
Fun Place was here, yeah.
And before the Fun Place, what was here?
Retro Fitness. It's
fitness
like
place?
Yeah, gym. Like,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's right next to the Kohl's.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the neighborhood, it's a different neighborhood.
Yeah.
So how has the community responded to your establishment opening up in the area?
It's strange, right? So like, again, I've been there before, right? Just like my college story I talked about earlier. I've been so infatuated with the business side of cannabis, but I can never be open about it. So I noticed like there's so many people that use it, but can't let anyone else know
Very
they're
discreet.
using it. Yeah, which is strange. Which
Your son or daughter's teacher, your son probably stressed her the hell out. And then she goes home and then she smokes a blunt to relax.
Right.
That's a thing.
Yeah, that literally happens. But
It's a stress reliever.
yeah, but
Sorry to cut you. But
no, you got
were
it.
saying?
So yeah, I'm just thinking like, yeah, the reason it's strange that like people would use it, but not openly want people to know they're using it, which is fine. But the community responded in various ways, and the good thing about the cannabis industry is there's so many people that advocate for, the different health benefits or even the positive effect it had on their life. Like there's people that literally have testimonies that they couldn't talk before using cannabis. Like they will go out and get so much social anxiety, and once they use cannabis, it brings them right to where they need to be, and now they're socializing and they're doing all these different things in the world. There's also people that use it for an appetite. There's people that come in like, I can't eat. This helps it helps them eat. So to piggyback off kind of what I'm saying, there's a whole community that supports it. And
Privately.
Publicly and privately. But yeah, I got mixed reviews from the town. I got some people that are for it, some people are against it.
What would you say the majority is?
Positive, definitely.
Okay, that's great. In April 2024, Governor Kathy Hochul announced New York's cannabis industry has generated over $237 million in revenue, with $77 million stemming from sales in the first 2.5 months of 2024. How does it feel to be a part of such a thriving industry?
Yeah, it's a growing industry. I really don't pay too much attention to the actual numbers, but more so the amount of people it's proven to benefit, right? So like, I mean, the numbers are cool, but I think that it's definitely, if we were to do a statistic on how many people are using cannabis and finding it to be beneficial, then they'll be even way more surprising than that.
So am I hearing from you that you're in this industry to help people as opposed to make a profit?
Of course, yeah. So here's the thing with my dispensary, right? So I'm not a medical dispensary, meaning I can't give medical advice. You can't come in and say, well, I'm having back pains, and I'm gonna be like, all right, well, you could just get some of this and it'll make you feel better. But what I can do is kind of talk to people about the intended effect and hope to help whatever they're going through.
What's needed to make this like a medical cannabis dispensary? Do you need a doctor on hand?
Exactly. So you don't need a doctor. You need a licensed pharmacist or a certified pharmacist, something of that sort. But also, you would also need to be licensed to dispense medical marijuana as well. But how our business module is kind of structured is we have regular bud tenders. A bud tender is basically like a bartender. They sell you your...
Bartender, bud tender.
Yeah.
Is that an actual term or did you make that up?
No, it's a real term.
That's a real term?
Yeah. So the bud tender, It's the person that you're going to interact with when you come in here to get whatever you need.
What sets King's House of Fire dispensary apart from other dispensaries? Like, why should people come visit you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, as you can see, like, this is, it's an experience, right? So that's what I tried to create. And I remember when I was first going through the motions, like, there were so many, like, naysayers and, like, people like, oh, that kid's doing too much and he's just, he's going to shoot himself in the foot. And people had so much to say, but I was really just creating an experience. Like, all my businesses, my business module is to create an experience. And there's a certain kind of customer for the things that I try to create. You know, it's not for everyone, but what separates me.
It's not for everyone.
Right.
Continue.
But what separates me from other dispensaries is that when you come here, you're more so getting an experience. You know what I mean? We all carry the same products. All the dispensaries are going to have the same products everywhere you go.
But they don't all have this car.
There you go. Yeah. And some people appreciate it. Like some people won't, but some people would appreciate it. Like, there's people, when I'm driving this car, like, they stop and, like, they have a life story of, like, how many memories it brought back to, like, a certain time. And, like, it's just crazy. Yeah.
What kind of car is this?
So it's a 1970 Chevelle. It's actually my grandfather who passed away. This isn't his car, but he had this exact car. And I remember him picking me up in it. It wasn't as clean, but it's definitely a memorable memory for me.
That's awesome. Can people sit in it?
Nah,
It's just for show?
Yeah. We're gonna have it roped off all the way. Yeah.
Smart. Because
Yeah.
people like me, I'll go sit in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the sourcing process when it comes to getting your products. Do you work directly with growers and suppliers, or is there like a middleman?
So there's a middleman, right? So there's 3 licenses that was given out. There's a growing license, which are the growers. There's a distributor license, which are the people packaging it. And then there's a retail license, which is me selling it. I can't sell loose products. So a grower can't just come in here with a whole pound of flour and just put it on the table and be like, all right, like, I want this amount of money for it, right? So it has to be packaged. And again, that's New York State taking that next step in making sure that we're regulated. But yeah, so to answer your question, I can't go directly to the growers. I have to deal with distributors.
Smart. Okay. And what products do you offer? Like, what is this?
So that's Mike Tyson's flour. Yeah.
Oh.
Tyson Bites. Yeah.
Oh my God, you can smell it through the package, guys.
Yep.
So this is Mike Tyson's brand.
Yeah, but again, so right, kind of like what I just said, if I'm not mistaken, Mike Tyson doesn't have a grow license.
Oh. But is he just getting money off of it because of his likeness?
I would assume so, yeah. So
Right.
I have to buy that from a distributor, and they package it, make it Mike Tyson nice, or whatever the case is, and then we can sell it.
Okay, so what products?
So we have everything from flour all the way down to topicals, orals, concentrates. What's really cool about the industry and our dispensary is that when people think of dispensary, they think they're coming in here to buy loose flour, which is basically like bud that you roll, like back in the day. But there's so many different products.
Back in the day.
Like, there's so many different products that people use. They don't use the flour as much anymore because they reek and they're trying to hide it from people, right? Like what we just spoke about. So there's edibles, there's topicals, which are like lotions and whatnot that you put on, same effect. There's bath bombs, there's orals. Like, it's really a lifestyle for
You're gonna
some
have
people.
all that stuff here.
Everything, yeah.
Bath bombs?
Yeah,
That is so cool.
of course.
Wow. And what's behind you?
So this is actually one of the brands we're gonna carry. It's called Zizzle. Really good friend of mine.
Can I see the pink one?
Yeah. You actually can open it if you want. So this is called WAP.
What is it called?
WAP.
WAP?
W-A-P.
Tell the camera what does that mean?
Walter. Nah, I don't know. But
WAP.
yeah. So again, aesthetically pleasing.
Let me see.
It's really cool. You can open it.
Guys, I got that WAP.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
That's some wet and gushy.
I make myself laugh.
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh my God, it smells.
Yeah.
So you said this is a friend's brand?
Yeah, so not a friend, but basically I built a relationship with a guy through the industry. Comes from a similar background. But yeah, his name is Zion. He owns Zizzle. And
Shout out to Zion.
yeah, one of my favorite brands in the store.
Zizzle. And it's pink.
Yep.
Shout out Pink. All right, cool. So it sounds like you guys are gonna offer a wide array of products. Not just flower. You're gonna get CBD oils, topicals,
You name it.
flower, gummies,
You name it.
oils. Did I say oils?
Yeah.
Anyways, you're gonna get a lot of stuff here. That's
Everything.
awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so for the people who don't know, what is the difference between CBD products and THC products?
So it's just the level of potency, right? So anything that's hitting over a 0.3 is going to be THC. Then anything under that is going to be CBD. The main difference is its effects. CBD is more of a relaxed. It's not going to give you that psychoactive like effects that THC will give you. So a lot of people that's just starting out, CBD might not be a bad option, even though you could get a lower version of some THC. But yeah, that's the main difference between THC and CBD.
Okay, and the difference between, I think it said indica on there. What's indica, sativa,
Yeah.
hybrid? What's
So
that?
indica, sativa, and hybrid is the type of strain the product is. So
Okay.
every product is one of those things. All right. And sorry, I feel like I'm like,
No,
Yeah.
you're educating me.
yeah. So
I don't use this stuff.
yeah. And like, again, it's crazy because there's people that come in here that want that education, right? Like,
And we're giving it, you're
Yeah.
literally, listen, so you're just practicing right now.
Exactly.
I'm the person that's coming in that knows nothing
Hello.
about marijuana, cannabis. You know, I see this cool new store just open up. It's got this car in here. I'm coming, I want to know what's the difference?
Yeah.
Like, what should I get? You know?
yeah, this is good practice. But
So indica, sativa, hybrid.
yeah, I'll give you a perfect acronym and you'll
Okay.
probably remember this for the rest of your life. So indica, just think of in the couch, right? So it's gonna,
In the couch.
Yeah, so it's
meaning
gonna-
I'm tired and I'm stuck here. I don't want to get up.
exactly.
Okay.
Sativa is just the opposite, right? So sativa is more of an energized feel. A lot of people use sativa before going to teaching classes, like we spoke about. And then hybrid is just a mixture of both. It's that simple.
What do you think that you're going to sell the most of?
Everything's a form of hybrid, right? So like, what happens a lot of the times is a strain is a type of weed. It isn't predominantly sativa anymore. It isn't predominantly indica anymore. It's usually somehow a mixture of both, because even when they're just growing the plants in rooms, or you got this row of plants that's indica, this row of plants that's sativa, sometimes it might even just create a hybrid strain just off of the growing process. So everything is somewhat a form of hybrid, but if I had to choose a specific product, probably vapes,
Vapes.
because you get high like you would a joint and you don't smell. No one to know you're high. So they're going in the car, a lot of people, you know,
And it has the oil in it, right? The tincture?
yeah, has the THC oil.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So people are going to want to know this.
Yeah.
This is a dispensary that has the flower.
Yeah.
Are you going to allow people to consume in the dispensary, or no public consumption allowed?
So back to the political point, Corley Manor opted out of on-site consumptions.
Okay.
So there's no consuming on the premises, but the neighboring city, Peekskill, opted into that type of thing.
So they have like lounges and stuff that you can go in and blow down.
Yeah, not yet, but yeah,
It's coming.
They opted into it. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another stat for you.
Go ahead.
It's a two-part
You and
question.
these stats, bro.
I'm a journalist. I told you this, Walter.
Alright.
Anyways, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, on average, Black people are nearly 3.6 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession compared to white people, despite similar usage rates. As a Black owner of a dispensary in this day and age, what comes to mind when hearing this data? And how meaningful is it to you, given that the irony that people are making a living off of something that Black people were substantially jailed for?
It's crazy. And
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why we got the license, right? But this is why I respect New York State as a whole, because they didn't have to go about this program. They could have went like every other state and made it just a highest bidder, right? And they didn't have to do this program. So the fact that they're giving people who are convicted of the drug an opportunity to now own it, I think is pretty cool. But to answer your question about how do I feel about it, I mean, that's my ultimate goal. This is just a stepping stone for me. Like, my real goal is to help change laws, change the way we transact it, right? So like, that's why a lot of people didn't understand. But I do think it's crazy. There was a war on drugs, like, and now they're selling it. Like, that's the craziest thing you never heard nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, people spent 30, 40 years in jail for something that you're now selling. Like,
the craziest
what?
thing, yeah.
Like, where's their life? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the least you could do was give them an opportunity in this industry that's about to be $1 trillion market. But like, not everyone got a license that got convicted. People lost lives, lost family members, like all over a plant. It's crazy to think about because one president, I forgot which one it was, one president just had an issue with, back in the day in Harlem, the jazz players, they would play a lot of jazz and then they'll use cannabis. But you remember like the Harlem back then, it was predominantly black and it was jazz players. The white women would work their way down to Harlem and mingle with the jazz players and all these different areas, and they didn't like that, you know? So they had to make it illegal.
Do something about it.
Yeah, they had to figure it out. But that's like a little too much into it, like I was telling you.
Yeah, but it's giving Emmett Till.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's giving Emmett Till, but we don't have to get there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, so some people like to compare the cannabis industry today to the early days of the auto industry in terms of growth potential, innovation, and societal impact. What are your thoughts on that?
I never really studied the auto industry like I did this, so.
But if you think about it, right? So back in the day, right, where, I don't know when cars came out, 30s, 40s, say we're in the 30s and 40s, and then you see somebody driving down the street in this car, it's like, what is that?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So think about it. The people who bought into that industry back then, invested in it, they're up right now. Yeah. Because cars are everywhere. You can't get nowhere without a car, right? So I'm comparing that to the cannabis industry in today's day and age. Yeah. You know, it's already made in New York State $237 million since it became legal. I can only imagine where it's gonna go.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna definitely go up. But I'm just with those numbers. Sorry, I'm just thinking about
You're not in it for the numbers.
Yeah, it's going a bunch of different ways. But I do think that it's going to continue to grow. You got to remember, there's only 130 dispensaries right now in New York. Only 130, and then there's a bunch of other like retail stores that aren't licensed dispensaries that are selling marijuana too. Illegally. So the minute that they kind of figure out how to balance that out, the sky's the limit for the industry. I do think over time, THC will be part of everyone's everyday life.
I agree, because I'm pretty sure when people, again, back in the day, 50s, 60s, or whenever cigarettes came about, when somebody puffed a cigarette for the first time and, you know, the air went over there, probably, what the hell is that? But then now you can walk down the street, kid in hand, and somebody's smoking a cigarette and they won't even bat an eye at you. Yeah. It's so normal these days. And I honestly feel being in the city, you can't, well, I don't want to say you can't go nowhere and smell marijuana, but like, it's like everywhere now. Yeah. And just so open with it.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of people do use it. I think the sky is the limit for the industry, but I am kind of concerned with, there's always, I feel like not a hidden agenda, but there's always a shift in every market. So I am worried that a lot of those card license holders, like I explained to you, those people that won off that criteria, they may, over time, like lose business or something along those lines. Like once the laws change, I do think, you know, everyone has to just be proactive with the law and just pay attention to what's really going on, if that makes sense. But
and I think you're fine because you're very business savvy, so I think you'll be fine with that. So last question. Can you believe we're here already? Lastly, can you share some advice for people who are looking to open a dispensary like yours?
Yeah, so my only advice would be simply to just not give up. Tune out all of the outside naysayers, right? There's all different ways you can get into the industry, so don't think just because you didn't get a retail license that there's no other way in the industry, right? You can be a consultant helping people who got licensed. There's all different ways you can play a part in the industry, but most important, just focus on the bigger picture, which is just changing the law, right? Like this should be something that's legal federally, like not at the state level. And just be ready when your opportunity comes. That's all I could really advise, you know, because the minute that we got that opportunity, despite how many blocks in the road there were, when that opportunity came, I had to be ready. Yeah. So.
King's House of Fire, y'all.
Yeah, that was dope.
Thank you.
I like that.
High five.
That was good.